In this video, we're going to discuss agenda setting. If we recall, we've previously discussed the idea of decision rules. You might have a range of different options to choose from, and then people vote. The winning option might get a plurality, might get a majority, it might need unanimity. There can be different rules for making the decision among different options. But we never asked why we're only choosing from these three defined options. Why aren't there more? Who decided that we're only picking between these three types of cereal and not other types of cereal? Presumably there is a range of different options. How did we get only three in our choice set? Why wheat flakes was included and not corn flakes? Moreover, why are we focused on having cereal for breakfast? Why aren't we having toast or fruit or something else? Someone determined that there was only a certain number of options that are going to come down to final consideration. That's the process called agenda setting. And if we want to think about this in a legislature, legislative branch like a parliament or a Congress, options are typically framed as yes or no. There can be lower taxes. That might be a choice. They might also vote on whether they want to increase spending. That would be a choice. Basically, everything boils down to a choice of do something or do nothing. It's not necessarily a consideration of all the possible alternatives. Do you want to lower taxes? It's a yes or no vote. Do you want to increase spending? That's a yes or no vote. Do something or do nothing. That is typically a yes or no vote. Who gets to choose that item under consideration? The ability to set the range of options is called agenda setting. To choose what gets voted on, to choose the range of alternatives. That is a very important power in democratic decision making. If we want to think more deeply about the dynamics in a legislature you'll have a fixed number of representatives. But at the same time, it's a pretty big number, and they're all representing different constituencies or different interests. They're all going to convene to try and solve problems. That set of problems is virtually unlimited. Everybody in that legislature might have a different idea of what problems should be prioritized. The public, for their part, is divided. The public has generally short attention spans, and they're interested in a lot of different things. It's really impossible to boil that down to a set of options that might be prioritized. Enter external actors like lobbyists, think tanks, and other advocacy groups. These groups perform an agenda-setting function. They help influence decision makers, typically in a legislature, or it could be the executive branch, what to consider. They help set the range of possible alternatives. So when we're wondering why a government is choosing to focus on one problem and not another, why they're voting on one solution and not another, we can't ignore the influence of external groups like lobbyists, social movements, and advocacy groups.